sign the deal. Westminster demands Scotland's backing as Sturgeon threatens Brexit hijack. Scotland will be asked to sign a new deal with Westminster to prevent predictable rage from Nicola Sturgeon over the repeal bill. Remain hardliner, Ms Sturgeon, is desperately fighting to stay in the Brussels bloc against the democratic will of Britons now, as she plots another independence campaign. The Scottish leader said a fresh deal will be offered to Edinburgh over new powers for Holyrood. The deal will be offered ahead of the signing of the Great Repeal Bill, which will begin dismantling EU legislation from British, transferring them into UK laws which can later be amended or dropped in outrageous demands. On Wednesday, Scotland's Brexit Minister, Mike Russell, insisted the entire bill should be rewritten. Secretary of State and Minister for the Cabinet Office, Damian Green, refused to make big changes. He said, "It's hugely in the interests of people in Scotland that we do reach a successful conclusion. When we reach an agreement on where powers lie, then we will clearly have that agreement, and that agreement will be public. I don't see that as a problem at all." Mr. Green said it is vitally important agreements are reached so there can be a quick distribution of powers after Brexit, but again, Scotland is making wild demands. Mr. Russell wants the Tories to hand over powers over areas such as fisheries and farming. Nicola Sturgeon, First Minister, said the Scottish Government insists Clause 11 of the European Union Withdrawal Bill, which can automatically repatriate EU powers to Whitehall and Westminster, had to be substantially rewritten, a spokesman said. "We are quite clear that the bill as it stands must be changed for us to be in a position where we can give legislative consent. But Mr. Green said there absolutely must be an agreement for the sake of everyday Britons as Ms Sturgeon attempts to score political goals. He said, "One of the reasons for having this bill is absolutely we want to avoid anywhere in the UK being on a cliff edge on Brexit Day where there are gaps in the statute book. The last thing anyone wants is to suddenly discover we haven't got regulations covering food safety, to take an example. That's why this bill is so important." Yet once Britain has broken from the bloc, Mr. Green said there could be more change. Ms Sturgeon's team wants all EU policy areas devolved to Scotland. Last month, both Ms Sturgeon and Welsh First Minister, Carwyn Jones, accused the UK government of trying to power grab. Until now, the UK government's position, supported by Scottish Tory leader Ruth Davidson, was that detailed talks on new Scottish powers would start after the divorce. Change comes after Sturgeon threatened to withhold Holyrood's legislative consent for the bill. Political chaos would erupt in such a situation, with the UK government being made to choose whether to force it upon the country or not. Mr. Green said, "We want these powers to pass through as fast as possible when we've got agreement. When you say there's a fundamental disagreement, there is we want the same thing, and the purpose of these talks is to ensure that in detail we can get to that point." Thanks for watching. Please like, share and don't forget to subscribe English News Hub for new excited videos.